shift links, FiOth here, and in this vid we're gonna talk about which perks or skills you actually want on your melee weapons. I already made videos about tempering, about soul matching, inheriting and transferring skills and perks, but now, since I've been getting many messages on my channel and in the various communities that I'm a part of, asking, well, I got this weapon, looks nice, but what do I want on it? Do I want familiarity C-, for example? So we're gonna go through some of the staples, some of the best possible perks you can roll, why you should roll it, and what they're gonna do for you. So we're gonna go into my inventory and we're gonna check a few of my weapons. We're gonna start with this Mataza's long spear here, part of my Twin Peaks build that you can find in the description below. Now this spear is part of a set, obviously, so I'm using it because I sometimes want to experiment with triple threat, and the improved movement speed is also extremely useful whenever you kill something. So we're here, and the first thing you should always roll on a weapon is this. It's your attack bonus rolling on your highest stat, and that stat of course should be your highest according to what weapon you're using. For example, you can always use a spear, and your spear can get bonuses from Constitution, from Strength, and from Skill, but its highest scalar, the highest single scalar, and the highest combined scalar, because I have double scaled it with Strength here, is gonna be Constitution. So you want Constitution to be your main attribute as well. So here I'm rolling attack bonus Constitution A-, and since familiarity is maxed, it's now A+. So the first thing we want to get, no questions asked, is an attack bonus based on our highest stat in accordance with what weapon we're using, since that weapon is gonna benefit greatly from its parent stat. Second, either you want to be buffing your weapons with something all the time using Onmyo or one-use items, or you want them imbued with something. That something can be fire, it can be water, it can be lightning, it can be corruption, it can be purity, it can be poison, and so on and so forth. There are tiers to this. There is a low roll that you can get, and there is a high roll that you can get, and you do not want to be getting those 8s when you roll your element. You want to be getting the highest possible rolls, so you will clock at 14 when you max your familiarity. This is very important because it's not just the damage you're dealing, it's also the accumulation to reach the threshold that activates said effect. Fire will burn over time, poison with damage over time, electricity will slow them down, water will reduce defenses, and so on and so forth. So we want a weapon to be elementally imbued with something, unless we want to be buffing it all the time. When we settle on our imbued element, we want to use an accumulation effect that's married to our imbued element. Accumulation for fire, for example, will make it that much easier to accumulate fire buildup in order to trigger the effect and have your enemies burn passively whilst you're fighting. For every one of the things you can roll, you can pretty much roll an accumulation as well, so you should take care of that. It's a white perk, it's a common perk, so it will be very easy to roll it. Something I found extremely useful in most of my weapons is some sort of life drain effect. So life drain, quick attack in this case, gives you back life whenever you quick attack. That is your light attack, usually mapped on square if you haven't touched it or changed its button binding by using custom assignments. It's very good to have one of these perks, Not this always, according to your playstyle you should be able to choose, but you can have life drain for quick attacks, for strong attacks, for high attacks, for mid attacks, for low attacks, for active skills, and so on and so forth. A very nice kind of life drain is when you kill something in melee, because it will give you a nice bump of around 270 with max familiarity and a good rolled weapon. So this will be very useful, because as you kill stuff you will be recovering huge amounts of health, no matter how you kill them, as long as it is hand to hand, like melee. Those are pretty much my favorites. Apart from that, we'll have to deal with what kind of weapon we want to be using, and we'll have to deal with what kind of playstyle we wanna use in general. So this is a build that uses active skills a lot. It's using Honda as its clan, and it's using active skills all the time. So because I'm using spears, and spears have low break and they cannot go through defenses, I'm using active skill break. Increases your break stat when using active skills, increasing the amount of key damage you deal when attacking a blocking opponent. So this will deplete their ki faster when they try to block, that is, when they can block, and the break you see there at the bottom also increases that stat that's inherently low. Now, how did I put a couple more skills than usually on this spear? You can do this in a very specific way. First and foremost, you want to start like this Kavanami Kusarigama. You want to start with 4 skills, rerollable, and your set skill that is locked, that is standardized. Then you want to use one of these babies, a skill that can be moved from this weapon to the other weapon in soul match whilst losing its property to be transferred. It's very different than using a perk like this life drain melee kill here. This will be overwritten if the weapon is soul matched with another weapon of max familiarity that it doesn't perk clash with. What's a perk clash? Well, you cannot have 2 perks doing the same or almost the same thing on the same piece of gear or on the same weapon. So as long as they don't clash with themselves, and you have max familiarity, the last weapon being infused into another base weapon will always transfer a perk with this symbol to the new weapon. But this, when it's transferred once, it loses this attribute, so it will be a perk like any other. It will just be a standard perk that you can temper and make it whatever you want. So your first move before you even start tempering your base weapon is to transfer this orange perk. As soon as you have that orange perk there, then you want to transfer your white sign perk, and then you'll have all your slots filled, and all of them but the perk with this symbol here will be tempering enabled, and you will be able to make it whatever you want. So you get a weapon you want, and you begin by transferring a once only transferable perk, and then a perk that you like and you want to inherit from one piece to the other, like my break here, and then you get to work on the blacksmith, tempering the piece to perfection. I hope that clears the air a bit about what we actually need. Nothing I just said is set in stone, of course. Your approach might be very different than mine. But the thing is that when it comes to attack bonuses, for example, your ability to deal elemental damage, your ability to recover health, and probably your ability to be more effective with said element are pretty much staples. For specific builds using specific skills, there is a very good chance you're gonna wanna do the following. Hello. You're gonna go to tempering, gonna pick a weapon, and you will want to reforge said weapon, like we see here, to have a specific skill on it out of the available skill pool that will be more effective. That will be a specific skill, and that can happen to certain armor pieces as well. It can come with gloves and can be transferred to other pieces from gloves that have abilities like that. If you're using Dragon Fang a lot, you can go with this, but remember that on your weapon it's a damage perk, and it will be the only damage perk you will be able to get, so our attack bonus heart there that's really good for a blade will go to waste. For me, it's always good to be universal about that. Have the attack bonus heart A+ when you max familiarity, and it will fall into place, and the weapon will be much more viable in general. But I'm just giving you the extra info so you will know where I'm coming from. Also, another thing I'd like to tell you, just to give you an example and to be true to my word about what I'm telling you, as you can see here on my Tossa Governor's Gauntlets, I have Twisting Spear damage because I'm using Twisting Spear a lot to initiate my battles. That's everything in relation to what we should be going for or our melee weapons. I'll make vids about ranged weapons, and I'll make vids about armor in general, about the staples, about the must-haves. So if you enjoyed this piece of content, guys, sub, like, and share. I'm covering everything I can get my hands on in Neo 2. I already have a ton of guides that you can check, and until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!